Hello guys, it's Salvaje. Here's my in-depth weapon review for the Duet Steampunk Assault Rifle. My supporter creator code is Salvaje. And I just want to point out I am still on my vacation. However, I wanted to make two very important videos. This one and another one you guys are going to be seeing tomorrow. And then I'll be back, of course, when Season 9 of Save the World starts. So, the Duet Steampunk Drum Gun Assault Rifle. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting a lot from this weapon and I thought this was going to just be a straight up melter. But it definitely isn't. But is it bad? Is it terrible? No, I don't really think it's terrible. The weapon fires really slow though, which means you're going to be dishing out damage at a really slow rate. The perks that I used for my duet were critical rating, critical damage, magazine size, and damage. The reason why I put damage instead of double critical damage is because I have a tactical assault sledgehammer, and if I just want that extra critical damage, I can just run tactical assault sledgehammer in the primary slot. Also, running critical rating, crit damage, mag, and damage basically means that my duet is going to be better for sort of overall situations. I had the magazine size on blue and I had 95 bullets in the weapon. Or no, I had 90 bullets in the weapon, I think. Anyways, long story short, that's why I went with a critical rating, critical damage roll, because even though you only have a 38% chance of landing critical damage hits, you do have a lot of bullets in this weapon, and this weapon basically supports critical damage rolls really well because of the magazine size. I just want to point out though, this weapon has a ton of perk variety as well, which means that if you're at the lower levels of play or you just want to cater this weapon towards a specific playstyle, you can definitely do that. Just like the weapon says, this thing is very inaccurate while you are moving, to the point that if you're moving with this weapon and you have a lot of enemies in front of you, you're going to struggle a little bit and you're not going to be able to be killing them as much. At least that's what I have noticed. So yesterday I actually went to watch Avengers Endgame. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. But long story short, today I've basically been playing with the weapon all morning for the past hour, 2 hours or so. So I had a lot of opportunities to test out the weapons in different scenarios. And something that I noticed, guys, is that this thing just doesn't really dish out a ton of damage, specifically when you're moving around, right? Which basically makes the weapon kind of questionable to run. The weapon, however, loses 50% of its damage within a 7-tile range. You would actually think this is amazing, and it actually kind of is, but the problem is that the weapon tends to be really inaccurate if you fire it constantly and hold the trigger down. So I recommend that you sometimes treat this sort of as a semi-automatic weapon. But then, as I was testing this theory, I was like, wait a minute, why would I want to test this as a semi-automatic weapon when I can just use the Hunter Killer, which is a base game weapon that is probably going to be way more effective than this thing, in a semi-automatic format, I guess you could say. I do have to point out though that if you are in a defending mode with the duets, you're going to have a pretty decent time sort of using the weapon. Just sitting down in the objective, taking out basic husks, it's going to be pretty Gucci. However, again, I just don't think this thing offers enough DPS or damage per second. The weapon just doesn't melt things very quickly. It is able to do some pretty decent damage, I'm not gonna lie, when you are able to land those headshots and when you're able to get those critical damage shots. The weapon tends to shine really well. And for a while, I was really contemplating and thinking, I am actually going to give this weapon a 4 out of 5 stars, because a 4 or 5 star weapon is a weapon that is able to do its job consistently. However, I kept playing with the weapon and I realized that compared to other weapons that you can use in the endgame that are going to be offering you a lot of value, specifically also in a specific area, the Steampunk isn't actually that effective. And in my opinion, the damage that it provides is good, but it isn't great, specifically when it comes down to the endgame level activities. And I wanted to show you guys some 130 level missions and all that, but for the most part, there's no one playing the endgame activities in Save the World that was also playing in the morning. I tried playing on Europe servers. Not a lot of people were playing there as well. But whatever. It's not a big deal. So let me just get straight to the point, right? Oh, I like the weapon has a really good reload speed as well. That's really Gucci. Look, if you're a beginner player, get the Duet, right? If you don't have something like the Pain Train or the Wraith or the Hemlock, what else? If you don't have a bundle bus for that high burst damage, you might want to get the Duet. It's definitely worth the gold. However, me personally, I'm going to let you guys know that I don't think I'm going to be getting the Duet on my second account. And the reason for that is, it's because I just don't think this weapon is worth it enough to be on the slot, on my primary slot, when I can run something like a Hemlock, for example, which is going to be dishing a lot of DPS, and it's going to have a large magazine size, and it's also going to have amazing perk variety. And don't even get me started on the Pain Train. Like, this weapon, if you compare it to the Pain Train, it's basically garbage. I don't really mean to, you know, kind of like say that the weapon sucks. I usually like to look at you know, things that the weapon could be really good at. And again, the weapon is definitely pretty Gucci when it comes down to standing still in an objective doing decent damage. But in every single scenario that I found myself using this weapon, I was always thinking, well, the Pain Train would be 10 times more effective. The Hemlock, the Bundle Bus, the Bobcat, the Silent Spectre, you know, at the close ranges. So then I asked myself, why would I run this gun when there's other guns out there that can do a job really, really well? I feel like the biggest weakness that this Duet has is that it's just focusing on doing too many things. And when you're a jack of all trades and master of none, you can't really sort of add a ton of value, depending on how you look at the situation, of course. Anyways, star rating, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's a 3. It's a 3 out of 5 stars. It just lacks consistency in important areas, and the areas that are important that the weapon lacks consistency at is areas like damage, accuracy, and most importantly, effectiveness and utility, and the ability to adapt to multiple situations, which the weapon does really bad. It basically only has one situation that is really, really good at, and it's basically you standing still, which in Save the World, when you're being surrounded by a lot of husks, it's not really very practical. If you guys enjoyed this review, feel free to drop a like, and yeah, thank you guys for the support that you guys have been giving me, you know, when I was made that vacation video. I appreciate that. I'll be seeing y'all in the next one. I can't wait to get back into the Save the World grind when it comes down to YouTube.